into their team, it's not a bad idea because Leona Scion, and I guess if you get caught by a random Caitlyn trap, that's alright. But the problem with cleanse into a Leona Caitlyn lane inherently is that they're going to be dishing out a lot of damage, and I think with the changes to heal, and I don't know if the heal changes had come through yet, but it looks like they have since they're running double heal. With the changes to heal, it makes it, I think, a more valuable summoner spell, especially on Vayne, because you're just going to be getting poked and denied, and they have some bursts, so heal can save you from that, whereas cleanse, like you cleanse a Leona stun, but the Leona damage is still going to get applied because they're still going to have sunlight stacks on you, which I don't think are cleansable. But, alright, let's go. Wish I could fast forward this, but I'm too afraid of LOL replay breaking to fast forward, so just have to wait. One thing you should be thinking about here is that, like, generally as an ADC, I tend to give pretty greedy leashes. Like, I'll auto once or twice and then run back to lane, and especially in the case of the lane that you're about to go against, getting to lane as fast as possible and starting to push is kind of like totally valuable because Vayne doesn't have a whole lot of wave clear, and if you get pushed in on, it means you can get poked for free, which is also why I would make sure your support is on the same page as you, and I would run through this way most of the time, just because you get to lane faster. And right here, what you want to be doing is you want to be pushing as fast as you can without missing last hits, because like right here, you don't need to be getting denied by this Caitlyn, because she's not in auto range of you. And I would be pushing this as far as you can. And this is going to be a little hard to coach just because the bot lane levels like 1 through 6 is mostly dependent upon how your support plays to carry you. And Morgana generally is a pretty good support into Leona, because she can, if she's good, spell shield you before you get engaged on, so that way you're not going to be taking a lot of damage from sunlight, A, and B, you're not going to be taking a lot of you're not going to be getting stunned. The Morgana positioned a little bit poorly there, and she is very squishy, and that's not really on your fault, or that's not really on you. The other thing I would be doing is, in this lane, especially if Caitlyn's going to be autoing you for free just because of her like range over you, what you can be doing, or what you should be doing, is never tumbling forward, only using your tumble to get backward. But anyway, the key thing that you missed out on here was just being able to push. And Vayne doesn't have a lot of wave clear, but Caitlyn never queued into the wave. Like, she never queued into the wave to push it really fast, so you could have pushed in on her, and that would mean that you wouldn't be taking any harass, because if you push in on her, like, if you push in on her and the wave is stacked up opposite, and say you're the Vayne here and the Caitlyn here, she has to, if you've pushed in on her, choose to either auto you or miss CS, and if she does auto you, she has a lot more, or you'll have a lot more backline creeps stacked up right here, which will be autoing her if she autos you, so she'll be taking free damage. So, like, especially like minutes 1 through 5, you can pretty much push for free. And the only thing you have to worry about is Vi TP, since Vi, as long as your Morgana has wards, because since Vi isn't a fantastic ganker levels 1 through 5, and once she gets 6, you have to play a little bit more careful. Anyway, I'm going to keep it going. But yeah, you're doing a good job so far just farming, and that's pretty much like how to play Vayne, is you just have to farm and not take free harass until you can fight. The thing you messed up on there is don't auto these melee creeps like that. You have to wait for the tower to hit them twice and then auto them once. And range creeps, you're going to have to get some help from your support. I don't know what the KO is doing, really. I mean, she's drawing them out of lane, kind of, but yeah, so your Morgana messed up there. She shouldn't be that close to the Caitlyn, especially when she's low health, but you're playing this very well. Alright, you can go back to farming now. One thing you got to be conscious about, just as a general rule of thumb, is when you're going to farm versus going to trade, be conscious of the amount of minions that you'll miss by going to trade, because if you go to trade and say you miss a cannon creep and like a melee creep, that's not worth it, probably, given the damage you're going to put on them and the sustain that they'll have. And it, especially not as Vayne, when you're going to be getting bullied kind of inherently anyway. If you go to trade, and trade and miss creeps, then you'll be just missing creeps, taking damage, and you're taking damage that you would have otherwise took. So I would avoid trading as Vayne unless you have a very clear advantage, like the wave is pushed up really far in your favor over here, or just you're stronger than them, which you won't be. Probably in this lane, Morgana Vayne is never going to be stronger in a all-out brawl against Leona, Caitlyn, ever, basically, unless one of them like misplays horrendously, which I guess gold and silver, that there's a chance of that. Yeah, so I'll just keep watching. Also, there's going to be a VOD of this uploaded onto my stream, so you can go over what I'm saying if it's going too fast afterward. You're doing a good job lasting at tower, and you're maxing tumble, which is good in this lane, I think. That was nice. Good job. Yeah, you're not like as the Caitlyn, I would try to not let you get get out of lane down by any less than 5 or 6 CS, but I don't know. Like that's what you should be shooting for, to only be down by, like, because she's not actively harassing you and autoing you, so she's not forcing you to miss creeps really, and you can basically just let her push in on you, since she's not standing right here and trying to auto you while you farm a tower. You can basically just let her push in on you and then farm under tower. That was nice. Good job. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about right here, the Leona has taken a lot of free damage, and she is not particularly tanky, like, visibly, but when she pops her W, she gets super tanky, so just make sure your support knows to be aware that you guys are not going to be stronger than this lane, like, ever. Like, as an ADC, if you have a bad support, you basically got to babysit them and tell them, like, as someone like Vayne who needs to scale and needs time to scale, you just got to tell them to be not aggressive at all, even if they want to be, so that way you don't get baited into any kind of bad situations. That was nice. Yeah, you're doing a good job of farming under tower. Also, the Morgana doesn't want to be Wing that backline of creeps just for the sake of getting her stacks. Like, she should be getting her stacks by hitting a snare and then Wing them, because if she W's that backline, she just causes the lane to push, and you don't really want that. Okay, so right now there's nothing that you should be doing except for farming, but your Morgana should be actively denying the yeah, see right there, you got 1 tumble auto on the Caitlyn, but you missed 2 melee creeps, so, like, gold-wise, that isn't worth it. You should just be having your Morgana, like... And this is the hard thing about coaching, again, coaching in ADCs. Like, that's not your fault. Your Morgana should be right up here in this bush denying this Caitlyn and trying to land her Q. But as Vayne, you just gotta know that, like, that's on your support to be denying their AD, and, like, you don't really have to be doing it yourself. Yeah, she should be playing way further up right now. She should be standing right here. Like, I get that she's going to ward, but she denies the Caitlyn some gold by standing out there and denying her creeps. So this is good. What I would want to do right now is, since you are shoving the lane pretty hard and the Leona just got back and the Leona's bought new items, I would shove this lane pretty hard into tower, and you have 1900 gold or 1500 gold in your pocket. You can go, after shoving this wave, you have enough to back and get a bilge water and some more sustain, and so I would just shove this lane really hard into tower right now, and, like, have your Morgana W the backline, so that you can shove the lane into tower and then come back to lane with a little bit of an item advantage, since you're just going to be getting denied by sitting right here, especially since they've frozen. So that was a good cleanse, and I actually thought you were gonna die there. But one thing you should be aware of is that, like, we saw this Vi coming down, so just make sure to know that, like, if your support is running or you see a jungler coming down and the Leona's running through here, you got to know to, like, just be behind them. But that was good. I mean, you got away with just burning cleanse, and that's fine. And the reason I say the reason I say to I'll pause the unfortunate time. The reason I say to back after shoving up right there is because with having just I mean, now you're at half HP because of that gank, but that wasn't really anything that you did wrong taking extra harass. The reason I say to back once you have enough for Bilgewater is because having Bilgewater and that extra AD, A, gives you sustain in the lane over Caitlyn because she'll have nothing, and B, it lets you last hit creeps much easier, so you won't be missing out on farm under tower as easily, assuming you're going the Bilgewater into Bork Vayne, which I actually go Bloodthirster usually, but it's a matter of preference just because I like to be able to micro easy or with less attack speed. That's good. You're doing a good job staying farming. There, I would say, unless you get a kill right here, this isn't going to be worth it all because you flash forward. Like, as a rule of thumb, I would never flash forward on anything except for a guaranteed kill on Vayne. Right? Also, you probably should have blocked that, or someone should have. Morgana should have. But yeah, never flash forward because you're not going to have that summoner in case the Vi comes down, and your flash is more important than a maybe kill. I would say that your flash is almost more important in certain cases than a ensured kill. Because like if you had flash right here, then the Vi has nothing to do, and she probably should have just ulted you right there because she could have killed you since you had no flash, but she didn't. But yeah, never flash forward. But all in all, that was good because you got a kill on Leona, but you probably would have gotten a kill on Leona no matter what, whether or not you had flash forward, because she was so far behind the Caitlyn. And at a certain point, you like if the support is so far behind the AD like that, like you just have to give up on like trying to kill the ADC, like which is generally what you're supposed to do in the bot lane, and just kill the support. Let me see what you buy. Yeah, that's good. One thing I would be aware of is that I get that you're going for boots too with the dagger and the boots, but it might have been worth like I'll never come back to lane with just a dagger. I mean, on Vayne maybe, but on other ADCs like never do that just because it's more worth it to you, so especially since you're not going to be fighting like really extended trades down here where that extra 15%, which is like one auto out of like 6 autos, one extra auto after every 6 is going to be valuable. I would come back with major HP pots and major mana pots instead of that extra dagger. Like I would go 3 HP pots and a mana pot instead of buying that dagger, just because the dagger isn't going to really help you win a trade, like unless it's an all-out brawl, which isn't likely to happen, versus the HP pots are going to prevent you from getting poked out of this lane in the next 5-6 minutes. Another tip I have about Vayne is early levels. If the enemy AD is forcing a lot of trades or a bunch of trades, and the support doesn't have kill pressure, like you couldn't do this here because Leona has kill pressure on you, or at all early levels after she hits level 2. But you can generally win most trades as Vayne if you auto, tumble, and then condemn, because they can only get 1 auto off in the time that you do that, and your condemn procs silver bolts, so it basically wins you a trade for free every 15 seconds when condemn is off cooldown. But otherwise, you're doing a fantastic job, especially given your lane matchup and how stupid your support is apparently, because I don't think they've landed a binding yet. But yeah, you're doing a very great job. One thing I would be aware of, if you're going the Bork Vayne build route, you don't necessarily need to max tumble all the time. Like in this lane, it's probably beneficial, but they haven't been autoing you a lot. So just get a sense for your lane matchup, and then if they're not autoing you a whole ton and they're not trying to poke you out a whole ton, and you don't need tumble to dodge skill shots because they're not really trying to engage on you, then I would max silver bolts if you're going Bork, just because it gives you an earlier damage spike. Once you complete that Bork, you're going to be doing more damage with your silver bolts versus tumble, the extra. Oh, right here. I don't know if you were attack moving or not, but it is like it's a matter of personal preference.